Hello, hello.
Mr. Garner.
Uh, Good afternoon, Valerie.
Thank you.
Or you can hear me.
Oh, we can hear you.
Yeah, it's like there are many computers there that are on. I can see very far. Malimaja is very far. But because it's black like me, I can see him.
My laptop has picked up. Okay, yeah. Mr. Garner, can you hear me online again?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Garner, we're doing another test.
I can hear you. Can Maduna hear me? If he can hear me, then it's fine. Can you hear me, Valerie?
Mr. Garner, I can hear you very clearly.
All right. Can the members hear me? But how? Lima Limacha is also in attendance.
No,
An
they
honorable
can't hear
Ansinger.
you. Bye bye.
And this is precisely because this subject is a subject of interest to all South Africans, because there is a lot of uncertainty. They don't know what is going to happen with their future, with the new legislations now, with you extending the licenses and so forth. There's just been a serious interest on transport issues, road transport issues. So that is why, in terms of the rating of parliamentary engagement, they felt that this one must be those that find itself to the live channel of Parliament. Honorable members are here. I'm with our support staff, as you would see, and also honorable members. Other honorable members, like I indicated, they are on the platform. At a point when they are going to speak, they will introduce themselves. But maybe just to test if they are in, can I check, Honorable Ghana, if you are following?
Good afternoon, Chair. I am following. If you can hear me, then it's fine. I can hear everything you say.
Okay, we can hear you very well. Okay, no, thanks very much. I suppose other honorable members who are on the platform are able to hear us also. For now, I'm only seeing you, but I know that Honorable Blosser will also be joining from that. Yeah, so let's take it from there. Now, without much ado, colleagues, compatriots, I'm going to allow you, Honorable Deputy Minister Tlengwa, to greet the committee and introduce the colleagues you are with. And then from there, you'll then outline how you are going to deal with the presentation. I also got an indication that you might have changed your presentation, and if you did that, you may have to share it with colleagues, or you may have to find a way of. Okay, but you'll deal with that when you come in. Sure.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, Honorable Salamlela, and the honorable members, and the administration of the Portfolio Committee. Chair, it's good to see all the colleagues after a while. It would have been nice for us to also join you from the hybrid platform, given the cold Cape Town. But Chair, it's good to be here and the parliamentary opening. Chairperson, we would like to start off by tabling the apology of Minister Creasy, who has got stakeholder engagements this morning and today, and therefore was unable to be here. But also, as the committee is aware that the Road Traffic Infringement Agency is delegated to myself, so all the while that I am here, Chair. I'm joined by the chairperson of the board on my left, Barbara Mkele, and the registrar, Babu Mloe, and the team. I do want to also, Chair, maybe for the purposes of today, introduce to yourselves the Acting Deputy Director General for the Roads Branch, Babu Lebo Ndwampe, who's sitting, just raise your hand, there you go. Chair, you are aware that we had a resignation of the DDG for the Roads Branch, and we are currently in excuse me, a recruitment process. As you know, Abhlabisa did resign, and we have been attempting to fill the vacancy. So we had Abu Prasant Mohan acting, and we now have got Babu Ndwampe. So I thought I should, for the purposes of this meeting, since all the other colleagues you are familiar with, Chair. Chair, I don't have much to say. Suffice it to say that we are here to brief you on the rollout of AARTO, which was effective 1 July 2026. We were due to have rolled out last year, but we had to postpone due to a number of issues around the state of preparedness and readiness, which on our side we have now fully complied with. And we believe that the process so far is going well. The team will brief you, and then we will field questions. I don't want to complicate your meeting just yet, Chair, so can I speak to the driver's license matter at the end of this meeting before it becomes the subject of this engagement. I'll just speak briefly on it at the end, but we are due to, at your discretion, come and brief Parliament, because amongst others it will require a parliamentary process. So I'll come back to that matter at the end, and also indicate, Chair, that the Cabinet announcement is also coincidentally running parallel to the approved, now revised National Road Safety Strategy, which is now the revision of the 2016-2030, and we have got a short term intervention strategy 2026 to 2030 to align with updated realities in the entire road safety ecosystem, and also consistent with the United Nations Decade of Action and our priorities of the reduction of road fatalities by 45% in the year 2029 and by 50% by the year 2030. So that, too, Chair, in the context of what we are discussing, will also be something that we will be coming to brief the committee on at your discretion. If I may now, Chair, request that the Chair of the Board makes remarks, and then the Registrar and the team will then present to yourselves. Chair, we have traversed a long journey on RTIA. We have piloted, and I'm quite happy that we are now at implementation stage on phase 2. And we believe that this is an important layer for the road safety ecosystem, not just about being an instrument of penalties, but also a behavior change instrument as well, and real-time consequence management at a personal level for all road users. So we will be in your hands, Chair. But through you, may I now request the Chairperson of the Board to brief us, and the Department Chair is here, of course, led by the Acting Deputy Director General. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DM. Greetings to the House, greetings to the Honorable Chair, Honorable Donald Slamlela, and the committee members present. As a Comrades Marathon finisher myself, I must greet Honorable Makashule Ghana for finishing this year at a very fast time. With myself, I am with Dr. Mashinini on my left, who is a board member and a chairperson of the technical committee. We felt that he should come to the session as well, given the fact that on the board he's the custodian of the AARTO process. From the executive, we have Mr. Matsimela Moloi, who's the registrar, accompanied by the CFO, as well as senior manager for operations, Dr. Baloi, and our senior program manager, Ms. Helen Khamanyane, who is the overall custodian of the AARTO program from a management point of view. Honorable Chair, I'm not going to be long due to the time that has been allocated, but I wanted to make just a few remarks. The first one is to say that as South Africans, we should be happy that the AARTO program is finally being rolled out, and it's being rolled out successfully, I must add. Today, as we're sitting here, by the end of today, there will be 30 to 40 South Africans who are going to die on our roads. And some of them may die because somebody was on a cell phone, somebody has been drinking, somebody has jumped a red robot. Some of these deaths do come out of an issue of behavior of our road users, specifically drivers. So the AARTO program, we should celebrate it because it's attempting to actually do away with that. It's attempting, at its core, it's not a punitive fines mechanism, but it is a program that government is putting into place to try and reduce road fatalities and reduce the impact of those fatalities on our economy, as well as our loved ones and our families. So And at its core as well is also to decriminalize road infringements. And hence we are moving away from the Criminal Procedure Act and moving to an administrative penalties regime. No more should we now have people going to jail for things that we could deal with from an admin penalty point of view. So as South Africans, we should be celebrating that we're finally rolling out this program. So it is not a punitive measure, but it's something that is intended to help all of us as South Africans. It's also intended to reduce the burden on our judicial system, whereby whenever there's disputes, we all run to court, but now we've got the tribunals, we've got the RTIA was going to be able to deal with such measures, so that it makes it easier for us to bring justice to South Africans. So in short, as South Africans, we should be very happy that the RTIA is finally rolling out this particular program. Honorable Chair, as we said today, I'm happy to report and say that the RTIA is successfully rolling out this program. We started off with phase 1 in 2021, and we had a delay, as the Honorable Deputy Minister has stated, on the 1st of December last year. We were supposed to roll out phase 2, and we could not roll out phase 2, but on the 1st of July, we were able to do just that. And the data that is coming out of the system is showing us that everything that we have planned for has actually happened the way that we have planned it. So there have been no major glitches. There have been no major drawbacks in terms of what we said was going to happen. In terms of equipment, all equipment has been delivered, it is working. And what we have done there, we've actually partnered up with the Special Investigations Unit, which is the SIU, where we noticed that they had computers that they were not utilizing, and we approached them to say, let us share resources so that we don't waste state resources on unnecessary tenders, and use what is there and roll it out in different municipalities. So there has been no issues in terms of training. All our issuing authorities have been trained. All of our back office administrative staff has been trained. We are fully forced, in full force, making sure that the work of the RTIA and the rollout of AARTO is happening as planned. We, however, are having some challenges with regards to challenges that are coming from outside the environment, in the main coming from legal challenges that are challenging the legal standing of AARTO, but we have been able to successfully defend those in court. We had an agent interdict that was filed by SALGA, which is the South African Local Government Association, representing some of the municipalities, and we're able to successfully successfully defend that particular legal interdict, but the colleagues will be able to flesh out and give out the details with regards to that. We also had a dispute that was filed by the City of Cape Town, formerly in an IGR process, disputing the whole rollout of AARTO with regards to the City of Cape Town, and hence it was excluded in the municipalities that were supposed to be under phase 2. So we also had a legal challenge by AARTO, which challenged even the proclamation by the president, and also some of the processes that we have put in place, such as the appeals tribunal and so forth, which legally you have to put them in place. And AARTO went to court, and they realized in the last minute that they were terribly mistaken, and they withdrawn that particular court bid on an urgent basis. So what we're trying to say is that we are in full force mode. Even those that detractors that have come to try and put brakes into what we're trying to do as an agency, as the state, finding it very difficult, because we have run, I might say that quite a tight ship as the agency as well as the department. But the colleagues will flesh out all of the details. With those inputs, Chair, I wanted to say thank you again for having us here, We don't take it lightly. You know, as a small villager myself, to come to Parliament, we don't take it lightly. We really don't take it lightly. We're very happy to be here. Thank you very much.
We welcome the villager in you to Parliament.
From one villager to another, may I now ask the other villager, the registrar of the RTIA, to take the colleagues through the presentation through you, Chair. Thank you.
You're welcome, villager, as sent by other villagers.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good afternoon to the Chair and members of the committee. We really would like to thank you for the opportunity. We will share the presentation between myself and Ms. Kamanyani, who's seated next to me, who's the project manager for the rollout of AARTO. I would wait for them to share the slides. They're still trying to fiddle with the system to beam the slides, Chair.
Can I show you the RTO system is not doing this? It's working.
We'll judge by the end of presentation, but the start doesn't project you well with your system. So it means we are going to plug wrongly to our cars.
Thank you, Chair. That as directed by the committee, we are here to brief the committee around the progress so far since the 1st of July on the implementation. We will touch a little bit on the issues relating to the challenges that we are facing. The next slide, please. Our presentation, Chair, will focus on the phased-in rollout because we avoided the big bang in order to take it in chunks. We'll also look at the rollout plan on phase 2, and we'll speak a bit about the efforts that we've put to support the issuing authorities that are on the phase 2, which we refer to as the hypercare of the post-rollout plan. And then we'll look at the challenges and interventions that we have implemented thus far. On the purpose of the presentation is really, as indicated earlier on, to look at the issues that I've dealt with in the previous slide. But in relation to the progress, we are looking specifically in the distribution of the user equipment, to look at the network connectivity, which has been ably led by our colleagues at the RTMC, who are also present with us here to give us support. We'll also look at the issues pertaining to training, issues that relate to the notice books, which are provided by the government printing works, and also we'll look at the contracting mechanism between the issuing authorities and the South African Post Office. On the challenges, briefly, it's issues pertaining to some of the issuing authorities that have financial difficulties at the start of the rollout. We're also looking at the number of notices that would have been issued starting from the 1st of July. We look again at issues pertaining to the user equipment, and the chair of the board has already indicated some of which we sourced from sister agencies like the SIU, and some of which also was procured. We're looking at the issues pertaining to litigation, which already has gone mute in the sense that the first one was defended and removed from the court roll, and today's one has been withdrawn by AARTO. And we would like the committee to note the progress that we're presenting today in relation to the plan itself, but also the challenges and the next steps that we're looking at. Now, when we're preparing for readiness, Chair, you would note that we had gone through the pilot study with Johannesburg and Tshwane, and out of that study, we had set down as the National Steering Committee, which comprises of all municipalities and provinces in the country, and also Salga is a member of this committee. We looked at what would actually make us to conclude that an issuing authority is ready for implementation. And these are some of the issues that we're looking at, and there should be proper legislation in terms of the regulations and proclamations we use. There must be proper connectivity and the user equipment, and the staff that is doing administration in the back offices should be ready to transcend from the former use of the CPA processes into AARTO processes. The training of the law enforcement officers, again, we've all along been issuing CPA notice books, and now to be able to be ready to issue notices under AARTO. The contracting arrangement between the issuing authorities and SAPO, and also how ready we are in relation to the production of the notice, particularly notices relating to AARTO 01, AARTO 31, and AARTO 32, which are at the core of the implementation by the issuing authorities. It's common cause, Chair, that on the 29th of June, the presidency did issue the proclamation, and as indicated again by Chair, we had planned to issue to 69 municipalities, which is 67 new plus 2 that were already on the pilot, but we have ultimately gone with 60 new and 2 pilot municipalities as of the 1st of July. The reasons for that relate to the Western Cape, the 7 Western Cape municipalities that would have been part of the rollout as per our plans, but due to the IGR process that they undertook, particularly the city of Cape Town, but effectively all of these municipalities were raising similar issues, and that decision was taken to exclude them so that we do not delay with those that were already ready to proceed. But I'm certain that that issues can be threshed out at a later stage. On the user equipment, it turned out now that although the municipalities were using equipment in order to connect with the INETIS, but those equipments were not combat ready, were not useful now for purposes of AARTO, and we had now to procure user equipment. At the start, all municipalities that are participating in this phase 2 had been issued with what we referred to as minimum equipment. But just before we started on the 1st of July, a decision was taken that we need to add, because the minimum would not perhaps serve the purpose, because these municipalities have more staff members than the equipment that we had provided. And then we then started adding the user equipment and the procurement. Unfortunately, some of the equipment are received from out of the country, and that is where we were able to provide some of the equipment. And as we were waiting for some to be delivered, we were able also to source some of the equipment from the sister agencies, and they were configured and then distributed to the different issuing authorities. With regard to the back office staff, again, around the period of 2021, all the back office staff had been given the training, but a lot of things happened between then and now. The 2023 Concord judgment, and post-Concord, we had to go back again to introduce what we refer to as refresher training. And all of these officials were given this refresher training, but also we are now continuing, as we would indicate later on, to assist them by hand-holding them to get them to understand exactly what issues are there, if they've got challenges, and so on and so forth. Law enforcement officials, we are reporting that all of them, again, it is a refresher training, because all of them had been trained around the period of 2021, preparing for the phase 2 then. But we also got back to give them refresher training. And then at the moment, we were working on those that would have been absent for whatever reason during the training period. And then that training is also ongoing. The SAPO SLA, what we are reporting is that there are municipalities that would have been serving notices using the normal postage, and they would have no issues with the SLA, but there would have been municipalities that have got their own service providers that are doing the posting for them. And so we needed to accommodate them because some of the municipalities are actually on long-term contracts with those service providers. And we assisted in terms of negotiating with the post office to create an agency mechanism which accommodates even the service providers. So where the municipality does not have an agency, they would contract directly with the post office. But those that have got an agency, they will have a tripartite arrangement with the post office, and that was successfully implemented as well. With regard to the government printing works, the big issue there, Chair, I must indicate, is that some of the municipalities indicated closer to the implementation date that they would, because it's the end of the financial year and they would not have money readily available again. We were able to get support from colleagues at GPW in that they were allowed to make commitments, and then the distribution would take place, and based on the commitment letters from the municipalities, and at a later stage then the payments would then be attended to. As you would know, Chair, this phased rollout plan, the phase 1 would constitute the 2 pilot sites that we had, but the agencies that were implementing would be the 2 municipalities, the government of Gauteng, the community safety, and also National Traffic Police. Those were the enforcement agencies that were participating, and we were expected to establish service outlets in areas that are outside of Gauteng, because people who drive to Gauteng, they would be affected by AARTO, and then they would then get service from the areas where they come from. At the moment, as we speak, we have presence in about 50 sites throughout the country, and where people are able to get assistance in terms of information or anything that they would require, including making the necessary payments. And then that also, in terms of our legislation, there's the issue of communication and education and awareness that we have had to take throughout the country, so that as we establish different sites going forward, municipalities would not be seeing this for the first time at the second phase. And then we did the readiness assessment, that which I referred to earlier on, Chair, in that we conducted a study out of the pilot sites and looked at what it is that would constitute readiness in relation to the new sites that we're going to go to into phase 2. Those areas that I referred to earlier on, the regulations and the proclamation, and also the SLA with SAPO, SLA with the government printing works, connectivity, and the user equipment. Those are the items that were identified by the National Steering Committee as part of what would constitute readiness. If the municipality has all of those, then it would be regarded as ready. The phase 2 started on the 1st of July with the issues there, where the proclamation, as I spoke about earlier on, the appeals tribunal has now been properly established. The members were appointed by the president, and there's 9 members, and they've been taken through the onboarding process, and indeed they will start operating when they receive appeals, which would come later in the day. At the moment, we're taking them through what to expect as we go along. We have onboarded the 62 municipalities, which will include metros and big municipalities that are there. And then, apart from appointing the tribunal, but we have established an adjudication application in ATIS that will make the process of adjudication a bit seamless so that we are able to deal with the volumes that are going to come or that are anticipated with the rollout. Same as there's also the electronic service, which was introduced as part of Section 17 of the Act, and also which was also ably decided upon by the Constitutional Court on the 12th of July 2023. That process is also an application that is part of our system. We are saying phase 3 is to be confirmed, but we are anticipating the phase 3 to come in around March in the coming year. In that would be the 151 local municipal areas that are outstanding in the country, and we are also repeating what is referred to in phase 2, which is the adjudication process, the appeals tribunal process, and the electronic service. It's just a repetition of those. And the new items that will come into the picture when everybody in the country would have received AARTO, would have been introduced to it, they would be understanding their elective options and all of that, would then be introducing the point demerit system. And again, there's been a decision taken that instead of introducing point demerit system on all the contraventions, but rather we first target those that directly contribute to fatalities in terms of the studies that have been conducted. And then we also introduce the rehabilitation program so that we are not only punitive, but also are able to assist those who would be contravening the laws. As things stay at the moment, Chair, we are conducting what we are referring to as post-launch support. I do want to start by indicating that under this hypercare, we have established a help desk with the national number 086-122-7861. That help desk is available to assist not just members of the public, but also the issuing authorities with any difficulty that they may face as they work. We are providing ongoing support to enable the issuing authorities to be self-sufficient. We have divided the 62 municipalities into 3 regions, and we have allocated officials from the agency to visit them as and when there's a need. We're holding weekly meetings with all of them, and we have made, most of the meetings are actually virtual, and we've also tried to hold regular meetings with the National Steering Committee in order to not only assist those that are implementing, but also get those that are not yet in phase 2 ready when the time comes for us to do that. We are monitoring how they adopt the process, so we are taking first steps to ensure that their adoption as users, particularly those who are in the back office, how they are managing to move away from the system that they were using before in order to be able to deal with AARTO related issues. And in relation to the management and training, like I've indicated, not only have we completed the training, but we are assisting again the team at RTMC and ourselves. We are assisting all those who are still uncomfortable. They will feel uncomfortable one or the other item, and we bring them on board, and we are able to either visit them, or if the numbers demand that we put them on virtual platforms, we do so and ensure that they are able to go through it. That would be the same as what we refer to as knowledge reinforcement. We have partnered with, I've indicated earlier, in relation to the growing the AARTO business with different stakeholders in order firstly to do an assessment and analysis of the implementation process, but also to look at how we can grow, develop and tailor-make our business needs for future growth, and with introducing new products and such things. Chair, the last slide from my side will talk to mainly things that I would have spoken to earlier on. I want to indicate under user equipment that all issuing authorities have been provided with equipment, and all of them are connected. What we have done is to ensure that everybody connects to Inetis, everybody is able to perform. What we are doing now, we are supplementing what they already have so that we can satisfy the needs that they would have introduced to us after we had given them the equipment that they have now. So as the delivery of equipment, of more equipment comes, what we do, we supplement where people are saying would have wanted 10 computers, we have 8. We supplement that, but also we are also again beginning to introduce some of the equipment to the municipalities that belong to the 151, so that when that time comes, we are not found wanting. As I've indicated, the refresher training has been completed, but we still have sessions continuing, firstly on request, but also on those that would not have been able through reasons including illness or whatever it is that would have held them back when training was going on. We still continuing with that. We have indicated that all traffic law enforcers have been trained, but again, when need arises, we do get back to the specific areas and assist them, and hold them until they get out of whatever challenges that they are facing. I've spoken at length about the SAPO SLA and also the GPW, except to say, Chair, we also are holding meetings at CO levels with SAPO and also with GPW to ensure that we monitor that as they approach issuing authorities individually, we also give them the necessary support and also highlight to them whatever areas that would have been raised by the issuing authorities to ourselves for a particular support. Chair, let me hand over to Ms. Khamanyane to deal with the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairperson and committee members, Deputy Minister, Chairperson of the Board, TechCom, my CEO and colleagues. A very good morning to you all. Yeah, Chairperson, I think I would like to indicate to you that currently, as the CEO indicated, we are at the post-launch and support stage. We call it a hypercare, whereby we provide intensive support to our IAs that we've partnered with and the ones that are implementing AARTO nationwide. Just to ensure, Chairperson, that we create stability, and we decided that we're going to take a 3-month period from July until September. We are there down on the ground to ensure that we provide that support and ensure that the stability as they uptake the AARTO process. So we've put together a plan, a support plan that involves all the implementing partners, even the DOT and the RTIA. As you can see, according to the plan, we've got the RTIA that was delivering the user equipment, and the RTMC was responsible and is still responsible for the deployment of that user equipment. When it comes to refresher training, we've put together a team, and then we do have provincial trainers that provide ad hoc training currently, just to ensure that they handhold all the users to be able then to deal with the issues perhaps of anxiety, because I think it's important that this House note that we are dealing with the employees who've been implementing the CPA process for the past 20, 30, 40 years. So now we are bringing something new. So the issue of transition management, change management, and training and communication is very critical, and hence we are ensuring that the provincial trainers, they provide that training. We do have RTMC support, GPW technical development team support, sales, RTIA help desk, call center, ANI support. All those are dedicated structures that are responsible in terms of resolving high priority bugs, gather user feedback, and ease the user anxiety that I've spoken about. As well, the issue triage, whereby they assess the issues that, the queries that have been raised, so that they can be escalated to the relevant level. Next slide, please. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I think you can proceed from the slide.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Just a minute. Yeah.
Okay, no, thank you. Yeah, and we've established what we call an AARTO war room, whereby we identify all the challenges and ensure that we deal with those challenges expediently. We've also have published SOPs that will assist the IAs as and when they experience operational challenges, then they will then use the
Chair, we've
published
lost sound
SOPs.
from the room. It says you are muted there.
Honorable Ghana. Honorable Ghana. Honorable Ghana. Comrade Marathon finisher. Let's proceed. You'll come back. In case you hear us but you can't be able to unmute, kindly note that we are facing a technicality of a network. We are not sure at this point whether it's AARTO or it's us, but it's in between. So you will be able to field questions, even in terms of writing in the group if you can't follow us. But we have to proceed now. You can proceed. You can work on the technicalities when she's proceeding.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Yes, so as I was stating that we've put together this plan just to ensure that, you know, there's a seamless transition from the date of the launch until the end of September, to ensure that we achieve the steady state by ensuring that we provide that support to all our IAs, and we also transfer the new knowledge to them so that they are able then to execute AARTO as expected. Next slide, please. So here we would like to share with you the AARTO performance since the 1st of July in terms of the infringement notices that have been issued. As you can see, the four pilot areas, they are dominating in terms of the numbers. The total number of infringement issued by Pretoria is 36,000, and the RTMC 28,000, and GDOX 17,000, JMPD 5,000. So as you can see, the uptake with this new emerging IAs, as you can tell there with regards to the numbers, they are now uptaking the AARTO process, because initially when we started the first week, the numbers were extremely low. They were 1, 2s, and 5, but then currently, as you can see, the Northwest and the Eastern Cape and Limpopo, they are also coming on board in terms of issuing the infringement notices. And we've identified issues whereby some of the IAs are not issuing the notices as expected. It is issues of user adoption. However, we are there to support them at the provincial level. User registration as well, we are busy supporting them through the help desk that the CEO spoke about. And again, some IAs indicated, more especially those who are from poor background, they indicated that they don't have a budget to contract with both SAPO and GPW. However, with GPW, the agreement was that a commitment letter is recommended from the IA's CFO just to ensure that there's that contractual agreement and enable business continuity. So with SAPO as well, there were issues. However, as the CEO indicated, SAPO came up with an agency model whereby all the service providers that are contracted with the municipalities are being given an opportunity or licensed to render SAPO services through an agreement. So even that, we still experience a little bit of delays there. However, with continuous communication, engagement for buy-in and rapport, we are seeing them coming on board. And again, they apply the users to be on notice. So what again, we've picked up is that if you've got an outstanding infringement notice and vehicle license, normally they don't allow you to work on notice, hence they reject your application. Next slide, please. And as you can see now, we look at the notices that have been issued from the 1st of July until the 27th July. Together with the amount that has been paid so far. So it's 2024, the notices that have been paid, and they amounted to 976, 950,000. So here I would like also to say this payment is not only for July, it could cover payments that of the notices that have been paid before the 1st of July. However, we just want to show you that the system, it is active and it is operational. Next slide, please. So here we are showing notices that were issued per status. As you can see, in terms of the numbers there are notices that have been cancelled. There are those that are going to court, and then there are those that are as a result of fleet nomination, and there are those that opted to pay in installment, and there are those who've nominated the driver. So those are all the transactions that are available to the motorist if they come and transact with the RTIA. They've got what we call elective options. So those are the elective options that you see on the system. So it tells you that the IAs are now uptaking the AARTO, and they are using it as a system for traffic policing. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, here what we see is the AARTO infringement notices that were issued per type. Either it's a camera non-offense or camera offense or handwritten. So even here, we simply wanted to show you that we are a business that is running an effective operation, because there are so many mechanisms that we are utilizing to ensure that an infringement it is issued. So here, as you can see, we do have notices that were issued because of an unattended vehicle notice, unattended vehicle offense. Those are the types of offenses that we are issuing out there since the 1st of July. Next slide, please. So what we wanted to emphasize today, Chairperson, is that with regards to AARTO, our mandate is more on road safety, more on saving lives than revenue generation. That is something that we wanted to put forward, that as RTIA and AARTO, we are not in a business of revenue generation, but we are in a business of saving lives and reduce the socioeconomic burden of crashes, because that it also impact our sister department, which is RAF. And again, with the AARTO value proposition, we say the CPA process, it was more of a disadvantage to the public than AARTO. With AARTO, there's reduced administrative costs where the IAs, they only deal with the infringement notice that they've issued. But as RTIA, we take the process further, whereby we issue the courtesy letter and the enforcement order. And there's higher collection rate with regards to the enforcement order, because with the CPA process, remember after 18 months, your infringement, it was going to be cancelled. But with us, we don't cancel any infringement. We will only cancel if you've passed on. And again, with the AARTO, we are bringing on board what the CEO has indicated, a game changer in terms of the point demerit system and the rehabilitation. That will ensure that we change the behavior and the attitude of the motorists out there. Then again, we've conducted an analysis in terms of the data that we've received. We could tell that Tshwane and Joburg pilot has increased their collection rate by 58% in terms of 25 and slash 26 financial year. So with that, we simply say AARTO, there's more value than the previous regime. Then with the financial incentive, again, AARTO is more advantageous. We incentivize those motorists who pay their traffic fines within 32 days. They get a 50% discount, which is a practice that is globally practiced out there, just to ensure that the motorists are incentivized if they honor their traffic fines within the first 32 days. So we've also created a platform as part of our e-commerce strategy to ensure that we create convenience for the motorists to be able then to pay either from their major banks or online platforms or physical outlets that are out there. Next slide, please. So as we engage with the IAs, we've came to an understanding that, you know, there are issues in terms of AARTO financial and administrative management. So we took it upon ourselves to ensure that we embark on a stakeholder engagement with all the IAs and all the provinces to ensure that they understand how does the AARTO sharing model operate. As you can see there on the plan, we've already embarked nationwide since we've started on the 1st of July, and we are only left with Free State, which is going to be attended soon. In those meetings, we are addressing issue of administration and financial management, revenue collection channels, disbursement ratios, notice reports and reconciliation, because with the AARTO structure, there's the sharing model is based on the understanding that 50% it goes to the municipality, and the other 50% it goes then to the RTIA, and there's a 3% again that is it goes to the collecting agents. So that is what we are embarking on, empowering all the IAs so that they understand this sharing model. So with regards to, as part of our strategy to expand nationwide and as part of the DDM model, the district development model, to ensure that we bring government services closer to communities, We've established service outlets that the CEO spoke about. As you can see, from the 1st until the 27th July, nationwide, clients that have been served is 13,579 nationwide. And we are here again to say we are going to establish more because currently we've got 43 service outlets nationwide. We're going to add more and create additional jobs around the country in those communities that will be serving the AARTO clients. So with regards to the AARTO electronic distribution, remember one of the deliverables of AARTO is the electronic service. With regards to the electronic service, we have a choice of either sending an email or an SMS. As you can see, since the 1st of July until the 27th, we've got 74,000 SMSs sent out to ensure that our infringers, they receive their notices timelessly. Even with the emails, as you can see, they've already sent out 85,441, which is more efficient than the traditional way of sending an ordinary mail. So we are improving in terms of our services and ensure that we align ourselves with the fourth industrial revolution that has taken over the era. So we are ensure that our clients, they will receive their notices on time. Next slide, please. Even with the e-registered communication, as you can see the numbers there, so efficient that 5,440 SMSs have been sent out together with an email of 8,754. So it tells you that there's more value in terms and the efficiencies what AARTO has built so far, Chairperson. So as part, again, of stakeholder mobilization through our communication unit, they embark on AARTO education and community just to ensure that they bring awareness to all our stakeholders, because AARTO has brought new knowledge, and it's important that that knowledge it is empowered to our communities. So we also use digital communication to market and communicate our products through to all the social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We are there to communicate and market our brand. And we've also embarked nationwide with the stakeholder AARTO legislative training, whereby we've trained a number of companies to ensure that they understand AARTO and be able then to transact with us conveniently. We've also partnered with SABC just to ensure that we also use that as a marketing tool for all our AARTO products and share the information with the public. And next slide, please. And this is part of the stakeholder engagement with all the provinces. We've got weekly meetings now as part of the hypercare, just to ensure that we handhold them, we address their issues that they experience on the ground, and ensure that we provide solution there and there to ensure that they uptake the AARTO product and services with ease. And again, with the legislative training, we did train areas like SEPS, Reserve Bank, ESCOM, Magistrate Forum, NPA, SA Taxi, and the taxi industry. So all our stakeholders, we did ensure that we empower them with the AARTO product and services for them to be able then to utilize our products. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think here, Chairperson, would like to indicate to you that such a project of such a huge magnitude, it wouldn't come without any challenges. Some of the challenges, they've already been tabled by the CEO, but for us to operate in an environment whereby most of the IAs are financially stressed, it is a challenge. However, for them to be able then to contract necessary and be able to implement or execute law enforcement municipalities were advised to come up with a CFO commitment letters so that they can have that contractual agreement with GPW. Again, we've experienced the challenge of the war in the Middle East. I think everybody can understand that it has disrupted the global supply chain. We've procured more equipment. However, we haven't received some of those equipment because they are stuck somewhere in the Middle East because of that war. However, SIU came handy and then donated 100 of stock. That is what we've deployed just to ensure that there's no site that is not equipped. And another challenge, the delay in the user registration in terms of accessing on the NCR. We have put together, the post-launch plan and support plan to ensure that the help desk that are out there, they provide them with support and to be able then to continue with business. So with litigation matters, I think the CEO has touched on that, yes, with regards to SALGA, more especially, launched an agent application, which we defended the application on 30 June. It was then dismissed. Together with the litigation by AARTO, it was supposed to take place today, but it has been withdrawn again. So, Chairperson, I wanted to say thank you so much. I came now to the end of the presentation. Thank you.
So you enjoyed the generosity of the chair?
Yes. Thank you, Chair.
Dear,
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. This is our story. This is our song. We are in your hands. Thank you very much.
I thought you'll say thank you, Chair, for your generosity.
Maybe at the end, let's see how you treat us first. that might not be generous.
Okay. Honorable members, that's their story. How do we respond to their story? Yeah, you'll start, Dr. Onsinger. You'll end here with you, Honorable Malmacho. You are all in. I'm not sure if Honorable Ghana is still live. Honorable Ghana?
I'm here, Chair.
Maybe let's start with you before we lose you.
No, you can't lose me, Chair. It's Parliament that chooses to lose me. Myself, I'm here.
Yeah.
No, thanks. Thanks for the presentation, Chair. I think just from my side, the questions more relate to the. Whilst one takes the point around the readiness of the other municipalities, especially the one that got online now, it's whether there has been an assessment in terms of the compliance side. We do know the challenges as it relates to the South African Post Office. And also people choosing not to go and collect their registered mail. That's to say what has been the assessment in that regard, and what are the interventions. I heard the bit towards the end, and could have been something that was commented on when Parliament could not connect me around changing some of the modes of saving the notices. So that's the second one. And generally, in terms of the 50%, the 50% reduction when people pay their fines on time, has there been an assessment, especially those that were part of the trial, in terms of the take-up, insofar as that's concerned, or there's still that, let's call it, people waiting to be stopped at roadblocks before they are actually paying their fines for the offenses, traffic offenses that are called. And the one that maybe there's a lot of interest And I know that it's earmarked for phase 4 around the demerit system. To say, if we were to do some kind of an analysis of the citations and all the fines issued, let's say in the last year or so, roughly, what are the numbers of motorists that, if we were to look in terms of just their disregard of, or maybe let me not use the word disregard, for the citations that they've received or the fines that they've received, will be in danger of losing or having their licenses suspended, because that's one of the big issues to curb in terms of road behavior. Are we starting to see some data that can help point us in the direction of the prevalence of certain offenses that are being cited using the AARTO regulations? Thanks very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ghana. Dr. Townsend.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I want to start with a comment on the introduction. And if we look at the timeline of AARTO, the AARTO Act was enacted in 1998. It's 28 years ago. And for us today to have a presentation on the status of implementation and then to look at 60 municipalities out of 257, which equates to 23% of the total municipalities on implementation after 28 years, is a reflection on what we experienced, because some of us were there in 2015 and in 2017 when we said, let's not launch a half-baked cake. Let's finish this legislation. Let's not hastily implement. And today we are seeing the implications of that hasteful implementation by pushing it through Parliament and now sitting with a half-baked cake. And that's the questions you now unfortunately have to answer to. Sadly, another month or two added to the process where we were in 2015 and in 2017 might have saved us a lot of embarrassment today, hence the questions that follow. Chairperson, my first question talks to slide 24. The regulations promulgated in June 2026 are described as the same regulations first published in 2019 and reviewed by the Chief State Law Advisor in 2021. Can the RTIA or RTIA confirm what, if anything, changed between the 2021 version and the version signed in June 2026, including Schedule 3? My second question, also on slide 24, given that OTA's interdict is being heard today, and I thought we might just get a quick update on what happened in court, but it might be ongoing still, so you might not be in a position. Question further, what is RTIA's contingency plan for phase 2, including infringements and payments already processed since July the 1st, if the court grants any part of the relief sought? My third question, also on slide 24, tribunal members were appointed, inducted, and given rules during 2025. Is the appeals tribunal actively receiving and deciding appeals at this time? And if not, what date is it expected to become operational? Then on slide 23, the presentation states that SALGA's urgent application was successfully defended on the 30th of June 2026. Does SALGA's separate review application and its formal intergovernmental dispute under the IGR Framework Act remain active? And what is the current status? On slide 4, can RTIA confirm the process and expected timeline for resolving the City of Cape Town's intergovernmental dispute? And what happens to Western Cape's inclusion in phase 3 if it is not resolved by then? Then back to slide 24. If the 2026 regulations are unchanged since 2021, why was there roughly 5-year gap before promulgation? And was any further engagement conducted with stakeholders during that period, given how much had changed operationally and financially in the interim? Then on equipment, training and municipal readiness, slides 4 and 7, where slide 4 specifically states that no site is left unequipped, while slide 7 shows further equipment batches are only arriving on the 3rd of August and in September 26. Please reconcile these two statements that stand against each other. Then on slide 7, what specific component or supplier was affected by the Middle East conflict impact on the global supply chain, which you mentioned, and what is the contingency if September 2026 delivery slips further? Then on slide 16, when will financial and administrative management training be complete in Limpopo, Eastern Cape and Free State, which you've mentioned? And what is the operational risk of those provinces continuing to operate without it? On slide 22, what promotion of the 62 phase 2 municipalities have needed a CFO commitment letter to access government printing works on credit, and does RTIA agree this indicates genuine municipal funding distress? Can RTIA table a current, independently variable cost and readiness assessment for each of the 62 phase 2 municipalities rather than a compliance certificate alone? Then on delivery notices and the post office and data systems, specifically on slide 7, how many of the 62 phase 2 municipalities still lack the signed operational service level agreement with the post office and the service provider, and what is this doing to notice delivery timelines in those areas right now? Then on slide 18 and 19, electronic notice and registered mail volumes appear concentrated in Gauteng, Tshwane, GMPD and RTIA itself. What electronic service volumes, if any, is currently running in the other 7 provinces? In the National Contravention Register, National Register of Traffic Offences fully integrated with, is the National Contravention Register and the National Register of Traffic Offences fully integrated with eNatus and with the Home Affairs systems? And what safeguards exist against data quality risks such as number plate cloning? Then, Chairperson, a section of questions on performance data and geographic concentrations, specifically slide number 10. I notice roughly 99% of the 89,454 infringement notices issued in the first month came from only 4 Gauteng issuing authorities. Does RTIA consider this a genuine national rollout at this stage, or an extension of the existing Gauteng-based pilot footprint? And when does it expect meaningful volumes from the other roughly 58 municipalities? Then slide 10, the RTIA itself controls access rights to the National Contravention Register module and cities user registration as a factor in low issuance. What is the RTIA's current registration processing capacity and backlog? On slide 12, which was that table of infringement notices, that table tells me that only 2.3% of the notices issued so far have been paid. What conversion rate from issuance through to payment, representation or court referral does RTIA model for a mature month of operation? So this figure can be benchmarked going forward. Then slide 17, does the first month's total of 3,257 service outlet transactions and 13,579 clients served nationally match RTIA's own volume projections for phase 2? And if not, by how much does it fall short? What regional, provincial and metro level capacity does RTIA have to manage volume growth as an issuance, if issuance ramps up beyond its current confined Gauteng concentration? And then my last 3 questions, Chairperson, on demerit points, rehabilitation and rollout scope, specifically focused on slide 5. Phase 4 is now described as introducing the points merit system specifically on the identified fatal concentrations. So can RTIA confirm this scope, explain how fatal contraventions will be defined, and clarify how this squares up Schedule 3 of the regulations, which already assigns demerit points to a much broader range of offences? Which department or institution will actually administer this rehabilitation program once it commences, and what will it cost? And has this outsourcing versus government capacity question, which was raised in 2016-2019, been resolved? Second last question, what guidance has been issued to employers on the Section 33 consent process for checking an employee's demerit point position, given that this obligation is already alive despite the demerit system not yet applying consequences? And then the last question, Chairperson, on the value proposition claims, which speaks to slide 15. The presentation cites a 58% increase in the collection rate from the Tshwane and Johannesburg pilot in the 2025-2026 financial year. Question, against what baseline and over what period was this measured? And can RTIA table the underlying figures so that we understand this as a baseline to measure against? Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thanks for the doctoral thesis.
I thought there are too many, Chair. I thought you will allow them to answer and then they take others. But I can come. Or I come. No, thanks, Chair.
As long as you are not bringing another thesis, then we'll stop after you, the answer, and we'll proceed.
No, let's hope I'll be sure.
Let's welcome Honorable Talent Kubeka on the platform. Honorable Kubeka, can you hear us? Talent? Yeah, no, it's fine. You are welcome.
No, siyabonga sihlalo. Usabhizi lapha elenki. Thina no talent sabantu bakelenki. Usahlela. No, thanks, Chair. I'm also not going to be long. I will just look at the financial implications first, and also around the issues of revenue retention for the municipalities. I think I'll just have 2 questions around that. Like under the AARTO framework, the traffic fines revenue is collected centrally by RTIA before a percentage is supposed to be remitted back to municipalities. Now, I want to check, I think Doc has touched on this. What are the exact service level agreements, LSAs, and legally binding timelines governing the transfers of these funds back to the municipalities, and how will Treasurer prevent, or how will you make sure that you prevent the cash flow crisis in metros, given that they rely heavily on traffic fines for their operational budget? So what would be your timeline to ensure that you give them their percentage? Secondly, since RTIA retains a portion of the collected fund for administrative overheads, what is the exact cost-benefit analysis for local municipalities transitioning from the CPA model to AARTO? Will the net municipal revenue increase or decrease according to your analysis? And what are the further, what would be the ring-fenced mechanism to ensure, or that you would introduce to ensure that these funds, when you send them back, are directed back into ensuring that we improve our local roads infrastructure and law enforcement? Around the issue of legal integrity, constitutional compliance, and administrative justice. Well, while I appreciate that the Constitutional Court previously upheld this act, procedural and electronic services of notices and adjudication bottleneck remain legally variable. So I wanted to check, given that the infringement notices and notice blocks can have severe restricts a citizen economic livelihood without an immediate judicial oversight, is there the independent AARTO appeals tribunal, is it full operational now, adequately staffed and financially equipped to handle the project spike in adjudication disputes without violating administrative justice rights under PAJA? That's one. Secondly, with reliance on electronic mails and postal services for saving infringement, how does the department plan to account for systematic failures in data integrity? We know that in your notice, there are some people who have outdated contact details, addresses, and all that. So when motorists are locked out of, where they find out that they are locked out of license renewal via notice without ever receiving these notices and opening the state, I'm sure this would open you up to review. So I want to just check on that. How will you ensure these do not become a problem? I know that sometimes you don't receive a fine, but you don't receive the notice. I see that lately we also receive them electronically, so I wanted to check on that. And then around the issue of intergovernmental relations and the municipal operational readiness, with AARTO rolling out in phases across designated municipalities, I wanted to check, how are you bridging the technological and infrastructure divide between the well-resourced metros and the smaller rural municipalities that lack integrated network connectivity, handheld issuing devices, trained back officers to process AARTO queries? Secondly, in light of the formal intergovernmental disputes raised regarding municipal executive authority, what concrete framework has been established to resolve clashes between municipal bylaws, provincial traffic mandates, and the national RTIA framework to prevent legal paralysis on the ground? And lastly, with the phasing implementation and the dual system risk, I want to check motorists that would be given that some you are already implementing. Motorists crossing municipal boundaries faces a fragmented legal reality. Violating a rule in AARTO active municipality triggers an administrative penalty, while crossing to a non-phased municipality defaults to a criminal prosecution under the CPA, what targeted public awareness and legal safeguards are in place to ensure motorists are not unfairly prejudged or trapped by administrative autonomy during this transition? And lastly, I must say that on the issue of, I noticed that in your rollout you do not have Western Cape. I must express a worry on that because I do not think it's fair that it appears to me that Eastern Cape is kind of Western Cape is kind of treated like an it's not part of South Africa, or it's an island of some sort. I don't get it why not even one of their municipalities are part of that, while other municipalities are. So on that, I would have just wanted to ask, because I believe that we need to be frank about this. I think I would have seen especially the city of Cape Town. I know they've been highly opposed to it. And I think they gave number of reasons in terms of their systems that are not up to date or adequate enough for that. But whereas you are rolling it out anywhere elsewhere anyway. So I just want to, can we get a concrete and a clear reasons as to why in the Western Cape, out of all the municipalities that are in this province, there's not even one that is part of this phase of rollout of this 62. It really worries me. I must be clear that, because it appears, we know here there are people here in the Western Cape who stand there at the border with the Eastern Cape and say they want an independent Western Cape. We need to be very careful about these things. It's as if now we are starting to promote those things. There are people that the Western Cape belong to. People need to accept that Western Cape is South Africa. Those who do not want to be in South Africa must leave South Africa. There's no one who's going to hold them behind. It can't be that we have a province, the entire province, not even one municipality is part of it. That really worries me, I must say. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and good afternoon to you, my colleagues, the members, DM, and your team. Chair, a number of issues that I've identified here have been covered by my colleagues, starting from the introduction that is done in 2026 after a resolution that was taken a couple of years ago. Anyway, the presentation is good. I appreciate it. Then lastly, Chair, there are bogus messages that purport traffic infringements that are usually sent to motorists. And people come to our offices and inquire about them. They even say those messages arrive when they have not even taken a journey. And at one meeting, a member was saying, I don't even have a car for that matter, but I have received the message. So how can the motorist differentiate between an authentic message and this bogus message? What are the features of our governmental and departmental messages? Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much. Honorable Mutibatsi.
No, thanks very much, and we must welcome the report that was presented to us. Thanks very much. But I want to start here. I think I don't want to overemphasize on what Honorable Malduna have said around Western Cape. I think that must be followed through. We can't be insulted by Western Cape administration. I I think that must be very clear. And if people feel that they don't want to be here, they must leave. The second aspect that in the presentation, we have spent much of the time looking at the internal preparations. This is what we are going to do. But, and I think the stakeholder is broad. It's not actually speaking to me as the primary stakeholder. It only speaks to me when a message must come through on the infringement. But it's not talking to me when I am to be canvassed to understand what this whole process involves. And I think that's an area that I feel must be canvassed. Myself as a driver's license holder, I'm a primary stakeholder. I think I'll encourage that be looked into. Just to summarize, this is what is happening, this is what is expected to avoid what Honorable Mumba was saying in terms of bogus messages that are coming through. I think that's the blind spot that we have missed. Also, around the question of the implementation must support to save life, but that must also involve driving culture, change, encouragement, how we deal with that particular aspect. But also, we must not, there's a thing of trying to cut the feet. We make a choice between cutting the feet or cutting the shoe. So we must not find ourselves in that area. What comes first? Must we cut the shoe in order the shoe to feed the feet? So we must not find ourselves in that situation. Now, we have an issue of unemployment. AARTO must not, when we implement, must not limit career of people who, the majority of people and ordinary people rely on driving. And how do we juxtapose between corruption, stopping corruption around this particular matter, with us wanting to implement and save lives at all costs, because we have the AARTO law. So that's the second aspect. But you'd also know very well that people who are in the middle strata and the higher structure, whenever someone has to apply for a particular post, he's expected to say, I have a driver's license. Now, if the driver's license, the demerit system is going to disadvantage him or her to get that post because he has got this demerit system and the license has been suspended, that's also, it's a career limiting aspect. So those are the two blind spots that we need to look into. Also, I was in Madikwe a few days ago during the registration campaign. There's a post office there. It's not functional. Totally, it's not functional. How do we deal with that aspect in terms of us making sure that we support this institution, or we are able to work around? During your presentation, you spoke about them, but you spoke about other service providers. And what are the other mechanisms that will be able to bring these young people who are unemployed into the system? How do we cajole them and encourage them to be part of the whole system, as part of us contributing to dealing with unemployment in the country? Thanks very much.
Honorable Malmacha.
No, thanks, Chair.
Maybe before you come in, I must indicate that on our virtual platform, we have been joined by one learner who's studying from a secondary school in Mpumalanga, who's understanding what we are doing in Parliament. I want to welcome her. I requested her to join because she has been understudying our work. Ms. Jing, how are you? Can you indicate to members that you are here?
Good afternoon. I am here, and thank you, Chair, for introducing me.
Thank you very much. You can mute. Yeah, over to you, Honorable Malmach.
No, thank you very much, Chair.
let me also follow suit, join the members to welcome the presentation. Further take this opportunity and thank DM, your team, and colleagues for taking this time and ensuring that we really go deeper into this. Here, when the presentation was presented, it was very clear that it's not about profit making, it's about to save lives. And numbers were said, the 30 to 40 that South Africans are losing life on a daily basis. Now, our function, our core function is to respond to challenges. And in this case, if there's anyone who will go against this, it means this particular person is not much more concerned about the lives that we are losing. I'm saying this in wanting to put it very clear that we are in support. Of course, I want to assist the House by saying a dispute is not a court interdict. So the matter that involved Cape Town, your Western Cape thing, can't be treated like a court interdict, meaning that you cannot do anything. It will be very much fair that the rollout also include Cape Town, because there's no court interdict. Whatever that will come out of court is another issue. Therefore, we are losing a lot of people in this seat because of this recklessness of drivers and whoever there. So I wanted us to really check that, because we must not create, as the latter speakers have said, that the Western Cape is treated differently and is giving a very wrong message, especially to the bills, the legislation passed by the only house in South Africa. There's no any other parliament. Therefore, that DM, we are not taking it lightly. We see it as a challenge to a state, and that must be dealt with to the core. Few things that really will come. One, the biggest complaint will be now, I never got the fine, now my license is suspended. This is what people will ask. Then how will RTIA, municipality and municipality make sure every driver actually receive their infringement notice, especially people who move. You will see these people who will move away for a long time, and people who are staying in the informal settlement where there's no proper addresses. You see now, that is calling upon the awareness and the communication of the whole thing, because if it is not dealt in a way that it reaches me, it becomes a problem. Somewhere it's not intentional. Then how do we then deal with that particular complaint? Of course, others are talking the issue of affordability. The question is, what support exists for the people who cannot pay the fine within 32 days? Will there be a payment plan or community service option instead of automatic suspension? I'm saying, will there be such where I don't have money? One colleague of mine mentioned that for me really to live, I'm only depending on this license. Have you ever saw a situation where a person is depending on a matric certificate? So if it gets banned, it's a problem. So in this case, if the license is not there, that is the only qualification he have on top of the birth certification. So you will understand that then it will need to be done. What concrete data will be used to prove that RTO is actually reducing accidents and fatalities, not just collecting more revenue in support of exactly what you said? It's not about the profit. It's about to save life, which makes us to support, because it's very clear that it's about to save life. So with those, Chair, allow me to pause me there and emphasize that we really support RTO. We support the rollout And we are saying it must also cover the Western Cape, as Western Cape is part and parcel of South Africa under the leadership of Cyril Ramaphosa, one and the only capable president. Thank you, Chair.
Hey. Yeah, no, I see we're on the mood already. Yeah. Malamaja, you have done the Lord's work. Honorable Malamaja. Yeah, look, colleagues, just from my part, I think from colleagues on the platform, Honorable Kubega, are you still there? So that,
I'm with you, Chair, and greetings to everyone.
greetings to you.
Would you like me to share my views, Chair?
To do what?
Would you like me to share my views on the current on the issues on the table?
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Switch your camera on. That's the condition for you to speak.
Allow me not to, Chair. My bedroom is not very nice. I'm in a bad area.
No, my condition for you to speak is that switch the camera on so that.
No, Chair, I'm in a bad area, Chair. So allow me not to for issues of bandwidth, Chair.
No, let's say for the purpose of network, let's allow you not to switch your camera. Just ask your questions
Thank you,
briefly.
Chair. Thank you, Chair. And a special greetings to the DM of Transport, Chair. Chair, just I've got 3 or 4 issues with this AARTO we're talking about. The logistical failures that have been cited with over a few municipalities, especially such as Nelson Mandela Bay in the Eastern Cape, they have themselves admitted that they are completely non-compliant due to lack of infrastructure. So I'm not sure if that question was that question has already been asked or not, but I would like possibly the DM to indulge us regarding how they plan on rolling out AARTO in provinces or in municipalities where they've got such issues. I share the sentiments of the few colleagues that have spoken about the Western Cape. The Western Cape always thinks that it's special. We must show them that they're not special at all. It's important that they become a part of South Africa. The second issue, Chair, would be the digital scams that arise from such notices that also have been spoken about here. What is I also would like to know what is the issue around that? How is the Department of Transport planning on fixing that? And then, Chair, the restrictions that come with, or that will be brought forward by AARTO, like with unpaid fines or unallocated points that can completely freeze an individual's profile, that would block vehicle registration renewals, that will prevent individuals from getting license discs and stop them from legally selling their vehicles. The question there is, Chair, how is the team that is working on this planning on overcoming that issue? And then lastly, Chair, businesses face corporate penalties up to 3 times higher than regular fines if they fail to nominate the exact driver of a company car within a 32-day window. Poor compliance that can lead to grounding of a company's entire fleet. If that is the case, Chair, again, what is the remedy that the Department of Transport as a whole is seeking in that regard? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for compensating for my generosity by being brief. Colleagues, Honorable DM, the Chair of RTIA, the Registrar, Acting Registrar, you have received the questions. It was a marathon of them. I hope you wrote them down. You'll answer them. Where you feel like you did not capture others correctly, you can just indicate that we did not capture this one well, and then we'll just take it from there. There is a reconciliation also that I want you to do in relation to slide, is it slide 9? Slide 9 and slide 11. Your numbers are not numbering there. You may have to do the reconciliation of those numbers. Slide 9 and slide 11, where you are speaking about infringements issued. Check it proper. Yeah, so your RTO is not RTO. Yeah? 10, 11. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Just reconcile. It might be a mistake, but you may have to reconcile those numbers for our record purpose. Secondly, two things from my part. I think the Western Cape issue has been over-exhausted. I wouldn't want to re-emphasize on it because the question is, on what basis do you target these ones, and at a point when they write a letter to you, you then retreat and say, we are not. What if another all municipalities had requested an intergovernmental relation process on you? It means this thing was going to stop. It doesn't make sense unless you want to say something that you will want us to understand. But I fully agree with honorable members that that's not how we do things. Second, related to that, this is a landscape changing intervention. Now, I hear you, DM and the team. I've seen your slide where you are speaking about how you are advertising and so forth, but I don't think you have been robust. I don't think head of road, I don't think you have taken South Africans into speed into what is happening, because everyone is kept guessing. I've seen Honorable MEC of Transport, Honorable Duma in KZN launching something, and I've seen him trending. But or if you are checking what was happening on that status, members of the public were asking a lot of questions. What is sexuality this? What does that mean? Are we going to lose our cars? What are we going to lose our license? So there is confusion out there. I guess if you are to ask any of these honorable members, Honorable Mutubats, what does this thing mean to him? He may not have proper answers. I'm sorry to use you. I don't even want to talk about Honorable Kubeka online. You can already hear the type of question, some of the question he's asking, that he too is not on the same page. Now imagine if these advocates who must go and advocate for you are not really grasping the concept. So imagine about an ordinary South African DM. So my view is not necessarily a question, but it's a comment to say, you need to imagine or reimagine how you're going to be robust, because this thing must match each other. The level of ground shaking that you are bringing must be matched by the level of ground shaking, advertorial and intervention. You can't have the other moving the other way. You can't intervene for a traffic in a train with a taxi. So there must be that correlation, and I don't think we're getting it from what you are saying here. So you may have to speak to that DM, but nonetheless, from my side, almost all questions have been covered by colleagues here.
Chair, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members. The questions are very complex in certain respects, and will request, some of them will require, not to preempt the team, but will require written submission so that we can provide clarity. So we will provide that, particularly on drilling down on some of the issues and the comparison. Some of the responses will be given. Now, obviously, the chairperson is here, the department is here, the registrar is here. Chair, I heard you saying acting registrar. No, he's the registrar. He's the
My apologies, because I was from acting head of transport, so I've not demoted you, my chief. No,
you are demeriting him already.
you are demerited.
Chair, let me start off with an overarching principle that we want to just establish, and it's in relation to the road safety ecosystem. For emphasis to say, fatal crashes, fatalities are costing the economy estimatedly 266 billion rands per annum. We are, as I've indicated, within the throes of the United Nations Decade of Action to reduce road fatalities. As the committee is well aware, we've registered a decline, albeit marginal, of 6.2% fatalities in 2025 in comparison to 2024. And it was important to arrest the trajectory which was taking us well over 12,000 lives per annum. In that context, the major areas of focus have to be pedestrian fatalities, which stubbornly remain at an average of 45% per annum. And I can indicate, Chair, that the month of June and July, we have recorded the lowest number of pedestrians. And of course, when I say low, it's still within the context that every life lost is still a life lost, and it can't be an acceptable situation. So there's a broader focus for us in the ecosystem to focus on road safety in its material facets. In the period of up to last week, from January 1, we are down 8% road fatalities. And that's the trajectory we need to hold to continuously push towards the saving of lives. Now, why do I raise therefore this overarching principle? How have we achieved this? There has been a deliberate effort of the sharing and pooling of resources across the government ecosystem. National resources and competencies, provincial and municipal. We are currently engaged with the top 10 cities or districts wherein pedestrian fatalities are the highest. When amongst others they include eThekwini, Tshwane, City of Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, Msunduze, Ehlanzeni, Kangala. So we are focusing on those areas to drill into the interventions that are required. One province that is receiving our urgent priority attention is the province of the Free State, wherein it is not holding on the trajectory of the reduction. It is in the opposite direction, wherein the fatalities are on an increase. And we are working to assist the province. Now, what have we identified? What does the data show us? The major contributing factors, estimated at about 80% of the causes of fatal crashes and crashes, is driver behavior. So this entire picture I've painted of where the challenges are, if you take a step back to ask, how do we get here? It's on driver behavior. Now, the strategic importance, therefore, of AARTO is to drive personally felt consequences on individuals if they engage in driver behavior inconsistent with the rules of the road, as part of the additions to the ecosystem about how we actually respond to fatalities and the crashes. So it is key in that aspect. Alone, AARTO obviously is just AARTO, but as part of visible policing, as part of data-driven planning, the preventative action steps and so on, then you begin to see where the improvements are. So we see AARTO as an important aspect in that regard. The second principle around this and Honorable Mutubats has left, and I wanted to go to the issue which he rightly raises around career limitations, which we need to guard against in an ecosystem, in an economy where we've got heightened unemployment. But there's the inverse to that argument. The one way to avoid career limiting consequences insofar as us taking the demerits is do the right things on the road. Then you don't find yourself in the firing line of AARTO, right? So the example he makes is very important because it places an element of personal discipline about how you engage yourself within the road ecosystem. But obviously at the same time, it then goes to the issue that, Chair, you have raised, which is about robust communication, and I think it's a point well taken. We will go back, and the department and the team will add more to what we already are doing. RTIA has been hard at work communicating across the platforms, print media, electronic media, radio media, engaging and answering the tough and difficult questions. And I think that obviously we will have to continue doing it until AARTO is fundamentally understood as part of the what is being done. But I can indicate, Chair, that communication, public education has been a prominent feature of the work that RTIA and the department have been doing. But of course, as you know, Chair, in this season, over-communication is best as a campaign tool. So I'm sure RTIA will borrow the same modality. Chair, the team will explain further to Honorable Hansinger, but the court action that has been led by AARTO has been, AARTO has withdrawn that court action today. So there's no further responses or consequence to what they have raised. We have established the necessary structures which were part of the core concerns that they had raised. It will now go down, as far as I'm concerned, to a cost order, because it is important, Chair, that we litigate responsibly, and it is my expectation that RTIA will conclude that matter with the court on ensuring that a cost order is granted accordingly for us. I'm not aware of any further SALGA litigation, nor am I aware of a SALGA dispute. There's no SALGA dispute, even in terms of the RTI process. And I therefore, Chair, lastly, as part of my responses, would like to segue, or maybe before I do, just as a clarity, Honorable Hansinger, the district municipalities are not included, they are not issuing, so it's not 257 of the municipalities that you were raising that, yeah, I just wanted to correct the number around that. Now, Chair, it leads me to the important issue that the honourable members have raised around the Western Cape. Chair, we fully agree with the outlook that the members have, that the Western Cape is part of the Republic of South Africa without any exception. The situation we were confronted with is one which the law provides for, unfortunately, wherein if a element or a structure of the state ecosystem files for or registers a dispute, it has to go through the processes as per the ITR Act, and litigation being the measure of last or intervention of last resort. So we have not gotten there yet, and it is my expectation, and that I've put it to the Acting Director General of the department, that this matter has to be dealt with expeditiously. It has to be clarified legally so that we can be able to implement. But we had a legal obligation to respond now to the dispute that was raised. And it, amongst others, raised about the revenue generation and split. It was on certain aspects, technicalities around training, because the training had already been done as far back as 2021, by the way. But because of, amongst others, the Constitutional Court action, some municipalities found themselves with those employees no longer in their space, hence the refresher trainings, which we have tried to explain extensively as to why they were done. So it is in that context. If you go back to the Hansard of Parliament when this was debated in 2017, and if you go to the NCOP Hansard in 2018, I would say that the issues raised then have been largely responded to today. And it was the issues around constitutionality, it was the issues around the rolling out of resources and infrastructure and services, which the team will still speak to, which has been done. It's the interventions around where challenges have arisen. We have worked with the SIU, amongst others, to make sure that resources are available. Training is going to be a continuous process as we evolve this system. So, lastly, I can say that we are awaiting now for the City of Cape Town and the other municipalities to concretize their dispute. For a mediator, if we don't find each other as per the process, because the next step is after registering or lodging the dispute, we engage with each other. If you are unable to find each other, then we have to appoint a mediator through the Minister of COGTA on the basis of nominations or proposals that would be made by the parties. So in this case, it would be ourselves with RTIA and the affected municipalities, and for the mediator to run the process. And if that then doesn't yield results, obviously then it goes to litigation. Lastly, therefore, it is my expectation that the department does with RTIA all that it is expected to do within the IGR dispute process. I'm of the view that the matters they are raising are easily resolvable, and secondly, some of them respectfully are without any legal basis. But we will engage with them and resolve them, and at that point, we will then proceed with the implementation of the AARTO within the municipalities in the Western Cape. So it is not without exception that this was done, but we had a legal obligation now under the circumstances we found ourselves in. And the difficult decision we made was, do we hold the whole thing because of a certain grouping? Other municipalities have been engaging with us, and we've been dealing with their issues, and that's why we've been able to resolve the issues. I'm sorry to be long, Chairperson, but I thought I should just try and relocate the issues that have been raised and deal with the issue of the Western Cape, because that's an issue within our purview, and assure the committee that it is receiving the priority attention of the department. And if the City of Cape Town does not concretize its dispute further within the process, then we've got no reason not to proceed with implementation through a proclamation process as we have done. Thank you. And I hand over to the Chair, the Acting DDG, and the Registrar on any matters, on the matters rather, that they would want to respond to. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
In that order. In that order. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Through you, Chair. I won't be long. I think just to answer one key issue that Honorable Hansinger raised, that this program has been going on since 1998, and if I heard you correctly, you said that it would have been better to just do it all at a go. We're still sitting at 23% of the municipalities in the country. I think that's actually the most prudent manner to actually roll it out, because if we were to roll out in all of the municipalities at a go, and we come and report here and say that to South Africans and state that we're at 100%, that would be actually quantitatively it would be correct, but qualitatively it would be one of the most costly projects that we would undertake. Because from a systems point of view, you have to integrate and work with municipalities that are at different levels of readiness. You also have issues that have got to do with the level of personnel in those municipalities. So not all are at the same level. So that is why it makes sense that we do it in phases. And also in the past, you also have had external blockages and hurdles, such as the Concord challenge that came from outer. You have also had pilots that have not worked in the past, 2008, 2009, somewhere there. So there have been challenges along the way to get to where we are, but the beautiful thing is that we are where we are now. And as we stand today, we're well on our way to implementing phase 3. Based on our own projections, we're thinking that by next year, March, we should be able to be at phase 3, having covered the entire spectrum of the country. And then from March, we'd be working towards phase 4, which is the ultimate holy grail of this system, which is the point demerit system, which I think the members have raised that this is not about revenue maximization. It's purely about how do you change the behavior of drivers so that we're able to reduce the number of fatalities. Even ourselves, all sitting here, we're all drivers. I don't want to preempt how people drive, but Chair, I can bet you that when you see a police officer, you reduce your speed because you can see that there's somebody who can give me a fine. But when you know that your behavior can lead you to losing your license, you are going to be able to do the right thing, even in the absence of law enforcement and cameras and so forth. So ultimately, this will be able to lead into a reduction of lives. It's been proven in other jurisdictions, such as Australia and so forth, where we've done benchmarking globally as the agency. The other thing was, I think the Western Cape issue has been well ventilated, and we are governance, we're sitting in governance, we're not politicians. But what we are seeing, unfortunately, is that there's some sort of a Stalingrad tactics approach that is coming from the Western Cape when it comes to AARTO. Because this started off as letters, always asking about, questioning this, questioning that. It's almost as if it's almost being escalated up until it gets to a phase where now it's sitting at an IGR process. We're not preempting what will happen, but we're seeing that this might even end up in the courts again. So there seems to be that from the point of view of the board. And I agree with the honorable member who states that an IGR process does not necessarily mean that it's a court process, but in good faith, I think the department, without speaking for them, in good faith, they enter into that engagement so that you see how do you actually resolve the dispute before it actually escalates into something else. But I can tell you that from our point of view, as the agency, we are very focused to ensure that the entire country must be covered because fortunately or unfortunately, we're not a federal state, we're a unitary state. And then the issues of communications have been well noted, and I think members are correct. They are not. I think members are not, missing it. There is a challenge when it comes to communication, as aggressive as we are in terms of communication, but we've been focusing a lot on SABC and social media and the other modes of communication. We are strengthening that now by bringing on board media buyers that will flood billboards, flood even other forms of modes of communication. And I take the point that even the ultimate stakeholder is ourselves as drivers as well, to say how do we reach out to everybody in the country to explain this in a very simplistic manner as to how does it affect all of us. Then I think the DM has covered the issue with regards to the limiting of careers and so forth, harming job prospects. And this is something that, I want to emphasize. If you do the right thing, AARTO does not apply to you. Similarly, there's the Criminal Procedure Act in the country that applies to all of us sitting here. But if we don't shoot anybody, we don't steal, we don't do anything wrong, it does not apply to us. Similarly to this legislation, I think if South Africans must just know that if it's a stop sign says stop, you stop. If a speed limit says you must drive below 60, you drive below 60. This does not apply to you. So just follow the rules. This does not apply to you at all. It's as simple as that. And lastly, I think we've taken the point from Honorable Nkopan about the issues of bogus messaging. We've had some of those, and I think the team will get into far much more detail regarding that. And as a board, we've been at pains to raise the issue to say that this program can't be left to third-party providers for everything. A lot of it, my view is that it needs to be in-house so that we are able to control exactly what goes out to the public, and the public knows what is the standard that they need to follow, as opposed to having all of these multiple platforms that are making money through this AARTO program. I think. One last thing. Sorry, I forgot to. Honorable Hansinger, I think the colleagues will add more meat to this, especially Dr. Baloyi. On the rehabilitation program, I think you are correct that we've also been at pains to say that the rehab program cannot be in the hands of third parties or the private sector, because we're of the view that a lot of corruption is going to be entering this space. Because if I am, for example, a business person, I've got a fleet of vehicles, and I've got 10 of my drivers, or whatever, how many number of drivers that are affected by AARTO, or their licenses are in danger of being taken away, I will do anything and everything to make sure that they are rehabilitated and come back to the system. So we think that this particular aspect of the final phase, which is the rehabilitation program, as much as we'll bring in external experts and so forth, but as a board, we have the view that it can be in the hands of external service providers, and we have pushed back a bit hard on that. As to how management does it, we don't know. We're also not experts in this, but our view is that it must be in-house, and to ensure that the integrity of the rehab program, because the integrity of the entire system may fall if the rehabilitation program is plagued with corruption. Thank you. I'll hand over to the registrar, and I think, as DM has said, some of the points that have been raised, to make it easier, would have to submit written responses so that we give comprehensive responses. Thank you very much.
You can't say, I'm saying you are acting. No, just shoot.
No, Chair, I was waiting to be given an
I
opportunity.
don't want to run a risk of demeriting you again.
No, Chair, I'm glad that a number of issues have been covered, but also I do think particularly areas that were raised by Honorable Hansinger would require some written responses, particularly because some of the statistics cut across a number of agencies. It's ourselves, it's the post office, is also the RTMC. Although colleagues are here, but I think it's proper that we take a sit and address the issues accordingly. That would be my first point.
Just on that, you are comfortable that, Honorable Answer?
Thank you, Chairperson. Quite comfortable. I do understand the technical challenges around it. Would it assist if I submit it by mail and that the secretary then sends it? Because there might be a word of to that also.
I think let's handle it that way. All those questions that Honorable Hansinger has raised.
Chairperson, in fairness, given that you've allowed the principal, would that open up the opportunity for other members in this meeting as well?
Yeah.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Did I hear you to say that opportunity for writing open up for others? Yeah, it does exactly. Is the price of
the price you pay for us giving you that latitude is to add questions. Is that fine with you? You take the price or you answer now?
No, I'll take the price, Chair.
You'll pay the price.
I'll
Okay.
yes. And I'm glad, Honorable Hansen, I was just thinking if there's anything that members are going to elect each other for, I would think he would be number one in terms of the campaigning, but I think it's just being generous. We'll comply, Chair. I promise. I withdraw, Chair. Having dealt with that, the training, like we've indicated a number of times in the presentation, there is, in each province, we have trained people within that province who are trainers. So we have had a train-the-trainer program in order to be able to live this system going on within the province. Now, apart from that, we then have the training teams at the level of mainly the RTMC and also at the RTIA. Now, what we do, we send our own teams to support the trainer in an event there is a challenge in a specific area. And also we have now established a specific team that runs the help desk, but it's a group of people who are well aware with all aspects of AARTO, and they will take calls, particularly from either whether back office staff or traffic officer on the road to say, I've got this particular problem, by the way, how did you say we deal with it? And they're able to address those. The second aspect is that there's a finance team within RTIA, as you have seen the list there, where we go to the province and say, everything has been dealt with, but we want to look at the issues pertaining to funding and administration of AARTO and all of that. Can you come together and give us a date that would suit you? And then we'll send the team there, comprising of the colleagues that are specializing in different aspects, mainly being the finance team. Now, those that are green on that slide are the workshops that have taken place. And now the three, they've recently given us confirmed dates, and on those days that they've confirmed, the team will then be attending to them. And we believe it's part of the 3 months program, and we're giving ourselves that we shouldn't go beyond September doing that. But the days that we've been given are still within that, but I think they are closer than that, in that they are still within August. We will be following up to ensure that everybody is in the same spot, and then the teams come and address them. And if we've been able to do 5 provinces in a month, we can be able to complete the 3 in a shorter period of time. Now, is it a national rollout? Honorable Hansen, you see, it's natural that because Tshwane and Johannesburg bring up numbers on a continued basis, and some of the numbers they bring up would include even some of their June statistics. Now, the other municipalities, there are certain areas that we have picked up. For instance, a municipality would have an X number of traffic officers, and of these traffic officers, although all of them are trained, but not all of them can be registered on INATIS because, one, maybe some of them have got their own traffic fines that have not paid and those kind of things. And we have now resolved those things. Now that those things are resolved, the numbers are beginning to show up. It's a pity that the figures that we're showing now only give us up to the 27th of July. But what has happened is that has helped us to identify the areas of pressure. And we've sent teams to go to those. Some of them would tell you that they have not been registered. Others would have had difficulty submitting forms to the provincial help desk. Some of them would indicate that the help desk has not responded to. So all of these administrative issues have now been cleared by and large, and then we're now able to with confidence say we are going to experience a more than the 2 that we've been referring to in terms of the numbers that we're going to issue going forward. But the numbers are being registered on a daily basis. the war room, for instance, sit on a daily basis, and on each and every day, reports are given on what is happening on each municipality. And I want I don't want to go to the issues of AARTO having been introduced in 2008. I think that has been addressed enough. What are we referring? Okay, the fatal concentration versus the Schedule 3 contraventions. So we thought, well, there has been an outcry generally around the point demerit system, but also in order to support the ticket of action, we thought perhaps we need to introduce the point demerit system in a phased-in approach so that people get used. But the first point will be the identified contraventions. There are about 10 that directly result in fatalities. And those have been proven in terms of the studies that have been the investigations that have come, and the study that has been conducted around the crashes, the fatal crashes that have happened in the country. And everyone that we have consulted with confirms that if you can deal with this, you will be able to. Say, for instance, drunk driving. Nobody disputes that it has been, by and large, the contributor to fatalities. Speeding. Those are the ones that will take first the demerit points. That is how did you arrive at 58%? We calculated the period of over 10 years of collection in Tswana and Johannesburg, and because we report to them on a monthly basis, and they have also confirmed that the figure of the increase has been in the last years at the level of 58%. Of course, it's because the two municipalities have been issuing a lot of camera infringement notices. And this is where I believe Cape Town would have lost out, because they do have a lot of cameras, and I'm certain they could have done a lot in terms of that. But I do not want to raise the issue of revenue collection above what we are about, which is saving lives. Honorable Maduna, it's true. The revenue, well, not necessarily that revenue is collected centrally. I mean, a person can pay at the municipal office within the first 32 days. There's no issue there. And people do pay anywhere in the country where they flex. Sometimes they walk into other municipalities and payments are received. And that municipality that collects that, they're entitled to the 3%, and they then transfer the money to the central account, and then we reconcile, and then we transfer within 21 days after reconciliation. That is regulated. And in fact, the two cities that are piloting constitute about 1/3 of the vehicle population. And if we had failed on that, I'm certain that we would not even have started to go nationally with that. Well, the cost-benefit analysis is exactly what we have done. We have looked at how Tshwane and Johannesburg were collecting when they were implementing CPA, and how they've been collecting over the period of 10 years, and we've seen how it has gone up. But how is AARTO going to assist the municipality? Now, the input, the financial input of the municipality becomes minimal. What is happening under CPA, you issue a notice, you need to appear in court, the traffic officer has got, they don't have to do that anymore. They issue a notice, and then they upload the notice onto the system, and the system calculates the number of days. If the person does not show up until 32 days, that's the end of the work of the municipality. RTIA has to issue a courtesy letter to remind this person, remember you had a notice that you got in this place, and you have not paid, and it has been past 32 days. Unfortunately, you have forfeited your 50% discount, but you have to pay. If this person does not pay, RTIA again is going to give notice to this person that we now are going to take you on to an enforcement order. You are not going to be able to transact on the NITs, meaning renewal of license or any of those things. And it is RTIA that does all of that. And once a person pays, the amount that was due to the municipality still goes back to the municipality, as though it would have been the case under CPA. So now, is the tribunal equipped enough to deal with the numbers if we go national rollout? Here is what we did, Honorable Chair and members. We've picked up on, there is a first phase actually before we go to the tribunal. There is an adjudication unit within RTIA, and it is in the Act. That's where you raise your issues at first. And if they fail there, it's only then, if you are not satisfied with the outcome there, it's only then that you can go to the tribunal. We don't go directly. And to ease the burden on the tribunal, what we have done, we have picked up that the number of representations that have been made, about 74% of the representations, have been around the issue of timelines. This notice was served after 40 days. That's what the regulations were saying in the past. They are now saying 60 days. Now, it's a black and white issue. If indeed the notice was uploaded after 40 days, it's supposed to be successful. So what we are doing between ourselves and the RTMC colleagues, we're putting a system that does not allow a notice to go if it is served after 60 days. So which means already the 74% of the notices get off the table and they're not even go to representation. So we're going to then deal with the 26% that remains. And some of them are also not that difficult for the representation officers to deal with. And we believe at the moment that the work of the tribunal would be less, but assessments will tell us when we actually do the implementation, and determinations I'm sure will be made at that time, whether we increase the number or what we do about it. Well, another member did ask a question about, now what happens if I've not received the notice but I'm being blocked? But that will never get to that. You can't be blocked because there are a number of stages, like I've explained. There's a courtesy letter before we get to the enforcement order. But if you get to an office and you are told you have been blocked, you can't transact because we are blocked. You do, in terms of the regulations, you have an elective option to apply for the revocation of the enforcement order. And if you've got reasons why it should be revoked, and you do get that enforcement order revoked, and it goes back to the stages that are before the enforcement order. So there's a lot of cushions that have been put in the system to ensure that there is integrity, but also we cushion the infringer as it is. I do take the point around the public awareness. I think we like the chairperson has indicated, we've done a lot of work with different institutions. We've done a lot of work with the public broadcaster because of their reach. But I think we are now going to take a position where by appointing the buyers of media, they could be able to take us even beyond that, because the social media, we have covered it, and the SAPC as it has been indicated. Then we have had a program in the past, and we are intending to reignite it of AARTO Fridays, where we go out into the streets and we distribute pamphlets that explain the elective options and the AARTO process and all of that to every driver. And indeed, we've got what we call activations, community activations, and we have done that. Perhaps I think those need to be augmented by other means, as we've acknowledged. I do not want to go into the unemployment, but I want to say on that point, the process of demerit points is punitive, I agree. But in it, there is a carrot that we dangle, in that if a person for a period of 3 months, they do not offend in any way, they actually reduce a 1 demerit point. So even without doing anything, the points themselves do get reduced as well by good behavior. So which is what we're trying to reinforce among people. The post office being dysfunctional, and there is this. That's why we're introducing at most the the postage in terms of electronic media and so on. I think that is going to make up a lot for that. And indeed, I acknowledge the point that the update of members, of people's contact details and so on has got to be regularly looked into. Have I covered all of this? Okay. What support do we give to people who cannot afford to pay the full amount within the period? There is another elective option again among the elective options on AARTO of paying in installments. And as you would have seen in a report, although there was just one person who opted for that, and you are given a period, I think it's 6 months, to pay off your notice. Well, unfortunately, if you take that elective option, you do lose the discount option. The municipalities that indicate that they do not have infrastructure, they do not have equipment. I really would want to be to stand corrected. I'm saying here in this August House that every municipality, including Nelson Mandela Bay, including any other, that in fact, including some of them, all the municipalities in the Western Cape have been equipped with the basic equipment as required. And what we are doing now, we are topping up where people are saying we need more, and also we're trying and address the 151 that are yet to come. We are working very hard with the fleet owners for them to gain access to understand and to work with us in terms of how do we deal with the nomination of drivers. And we're trying to make it a little bit easy for them. And what we can say is that perhaps if there are some fleet owners that we have not been able to get closer to, would like them to show up so that we work together in order to ensure that a company does not collapse only based on them failing to nominate a correct person who was behind the wheel. Because that, again, the option of nominating a driver, if you hit the camera and you get the camera notice, naturally the notice will go to the owner. And AARTO allows the owner to say, no, I was not driving this car on this day, but we need to verify that indeed the car was driven by this person. Because remember, the ultimate aim of AARTO is to correct driver behavior, not to punish owners. And that we are welcoming fleet owners to show up so that we work together in terms of how we assist them to go through that. I think I've covered the bulk of them. I'll leave other colleagues. I know others require John to respond to. Thank you, Chair.
And Chairperson, we are trying to be as comprehensive as possible for the benefit of the committee. Acting DDG.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, DM. Questions, I think they've been well answered. One thing, DM, that I just wanted to confirm through you from the department point of view, tomorrow, Wednesday, the 5th, and Thursday, the 6th, the road branch is having the strategic plan. And one of the key things is really to emphasize on the communication campaign. The point that you've raised, quite clear, we've assessed and we've seen that we've not been forthcoming in as far as local radio stations and making sure that we making people aware of what AARTO means. So we dealt with the issues of frequently asked questions to make sure that people are well informed about what is the intention of this AARTO, how is it going to affect them, and why do we need everyone's buy-in in this one. And in the main point is about saving lives and not really more on revenue generation. So the more we make people aware, I believe that that is how we're gonna get everyone's buy-in. And I think that is just one point from our side, DM, after what you said, that we needed to emphasize that we are taking the observation, right? And we've already started making some plans to address that robustly. So thank you.
Chair, I think siyavuvala umcimbi on that one. Colleagues, you all fine? Chairperson. Chair, that's it. I don't know when you want us to address the driver's license issue, but otherwise, we are done, Chair.
Sizohlangana ngaleyo kulizayo. I hope members have heard what I said. I doubt Honorable Malmacha has heard, but an Honorable. I'm saying on that matter, we'll meet on the day that the Lord would have provided.
Until then, Chair, please continue renewing your licenses.
At least I still have 3 years, and I hope in these 3 years you would have. Yeah, but look, colleagues, thanks very much for the comprehensive responses. I think this is what we want, colleagues, and I think what I'm saying is the sentiment that my colleagues are feeling here because I'm interfacing with them. When you come to Parliament, we want answers in the manner you provided. And thanks for your leadership, TM, in the manner you always prepare. Because just by you answering, we could have still called it a day because you have done justice. And to the extent that you immerse yourself into the program of the department that you are leading, the entities you are leading, is quite inspiring. And that's what we want. Because we then get the answers in the manner that we want them, because you understand how we want answers to be provided. We will still implore on you to look into, I hear you are going to be doing media buying. You have a proper, what you call, an example of entities of transport are known for robust, whether it's the RAF with its own challenges, whether it's Sanral with its own challenges, whether it's AXA, all the entities in the transport space are known of being best communicators, whether it's RTMC. So you are not going to be left behind. For years you have been hiding behind RTMC, by the way. Now, the moon is being cleared for you to face the world. And you must really face the world. You're not going to be hiding, no, we're going to do media buying. Those are proper phrases. The media buying to say what? What are you going to communicate? You may not have to answer it here now, but you must know what are you going to communicate, how are you going to communicate it. You're not going to communicate to a truck driver with social media. So you must know when you leave here to say we're going to communicate, we're going to be media buying. Part of what you must be about is what is going to be the best communication strategy for this ground breaking type of intervention in the ecosystem that the DM is speaking about. That's very important. The issue of the Western Cape, I'm happy on how you clarified it. It also goes to the very issue of communication, that if you were not here to communicate that, I think these colleagues would have left here without us concluding, because, and they must be happy you are here and you took your time, to sit us down and understand that we are not creating an island out of the Western Cape. Remember, we come here from a particular understanding of how Western Cape want to operate, because we are human beings, we are political beings that lives in this country. And we know the undertones of certain. Even when a honest engagement is happening, we got to have a certain type of understanding that it may mean something else. And if that clarity had not emerged through your report, but had it emerged in the manner that DM clarified it, you wouldn't have had the robustness that the colleagues have come in with it. So our plea on it is that we can't sit here and be the first to glorify the isolation of another province out of the country. Because otherwise it will be blamed as that it started with transport. They gave an exemption for Western Cape to do what it wants. But with the clarity you have given, you need to indeed move with speed in terms of what you are saying, so that we finalize this issue, so that when we roll out, we must not be asked, why is the Western Cape closed out? At least because the public are listening to what we are saying now. That question, I hope I will not be having to answer it anywhere else, because it's clarified now. But the important thing is, let's move as speedily as possible, so that you do not create doubt in the minds of South Africans that the transport space is doing their own things. They are creating their own republic out of the republic, right? Related to that is that the questions asked, we are giving you 7 days to provide answers to them, and we have already received, and then we'll allow members who have. Yeah, you'll write, Honorable Maduna. Yeah. Okay.
No, just one thing, Chair. I wanted to say, perhaps on the issue, I get it, the issue with the Western Cape, now that it's explained. But I think we need to have some kind of recourse. If out of the engagements that are on ongoing DM, you don't find each other, maybe we should reconsider something that says, if they are not willing to work with national government in the near future, we would have to suspend the grants that we are giving to them, so that they feel that they are part of South Africa, they are not alone.
Honorable Mabena, you are, and Maduna. Yeah, I know you are radical, but you are already far. Yeah, so what must happen is that, DM, when we write to you, we're going to write to the time frame on which you are going. Part of the questions we are going to write is time frame on how you think you are going to resolve this thing, so that we are backed by a record of trace to say you have committed that in this period you would have resolved the matter, and as we move forward, you'll roll out with the Western Cape. Is that fine? So you'll provide that clarity in now in terms of timeline, so that Maduna must not move for other radical steps that are not within our purview for now. But I think we are, all in all, we are happy, DM. We really appreciate the manner in which you have answered us. And any other thing that honorable members feel that still needs to be captured, it will come in writing. But I must say, this is an example, DM. When you come again with other entities, please come the manner in which you always do, but sometimes you come and provide answers and your colleagues contradict you with other entities. So please, this is a standard on how you and your colleagues, when you come here, must be. Thanks very much. Enjoy the night in Cape Town. It was great listening to you clarifying these matters. Until we meet again.
No one's staying. We're saving money.
Okay. Yeah, in any way, because RTIA doesn't have money. Even when they say they are going to do media buying, I'm asked, because it's another issue I wanted to raise, that you are here, you and DM. You need to assist them to check, because we understand, relative to Sanral, relative to RAF, relative to RTMC, I think they are the smallest kid in the department, so they may not come clear that part of the reason why we are not moving, that's why they are telling us about social media, as if the truck drivers can be on social media. Part of what you must do is to use your communication machinery to also support them, especially with strategies. Because the registrar here doesn't want to be demerited, but he knows he doesn't have the necessary muscle to meet this obligation, because this is a huge obligation and it needs to be subsidized in terms of communication. Thanks very much. A great night ahead. Until we meet.